Sometimes you can acquire something that might not be what you were expecting. That certainly hasn't been the case for the Knicks and Karl-Anthony Towns. He's having one of the most efficient seasons of his career, and is a huge reason why the Knicks are having such success offensively. I'm going to take a deeper dive into Towns' game to show the various ways he's making an impact on the offensive end of the floor. There aren't many 7-footers in NBA history who have an offensive skill set as versatile as Towns, though in his last 2 seasons in Minnesota, playing alongside another big man in Rudy Gobert restricted how he was utilized. Last year, including the playoffs, over 50% of Towns' offensive possessions were either spot ups, post ups, or out of isolation. This season, per synergy, there have been 6 play types that have accounted for at least 10% of his offensive possessions. So far this season, the man known as Cat has been incredibly effective on spot ups, ranking in the 92nd percentile on a per possession basis. He's knocked down a ridiculous 49% of his threes off spot ups, but is also incredibly dangerous when attacking closeouts and putting the ball on the floor. Here, Towns gets the pass on the right elbow before handing it off to Mikal Bridges. After the handoff, Towns pops out to the right wing, and Bobby Portis is in recovery mode with him set to receive the pass. Now, with the high end shooter having the ball, Portis is in a bind as he has to account for a potential 3 here, though Towns is also a threat to put it on the floor. The 10-year vet decisively attacks the closeout and finishes around the basket for the layup. When playing with Gobert, Towns wasn't always the primary emphasis to be utilized as a roll man out of pick and roll, though he's received more opportunities this year and has been very efficient, ranking in the 79th percentile on a per possession basis. Given the threat he provides out of pick and pop and playing alongside a fantastic pick and roll player in Jalen Brunson, this is a very dangerous combo. Towns here sets the screen for Brunson, who starts working downhill. Though notice what happened. Zach Edey went to help as Brunson's defender was working through the screen. However, that defender goes back to Brunson, which leaves Towns open on the perimeter. Brunson sees this and dishes it to Cat, but now you can see what makes him so dangerous on spot ups also translates to pick and pop with the threat of his outside shooting. Towns gets Edey up in the air on a shot fake, and then puts the ball on the floor for an impressive finish at the rim. Not surprisingly, he's also dangerous when rolling to the basket, where he can showcase his impressive touch to finish in the paint. One thing that carried over from his last few years in Minnesota is that Towns is being utilized on post-ups at a high rate. The 5-time All-Star can score on these looks in a variety of ways, and when given the chance will punish mismatches. As Towns gets the ball here initially, he's defended by Domantas Sabonis, though after handing it off to Jalen Brunson, he rolls towards the basket and will get a switch. Towns right away sets up and has his back to the basket against Keegan Murray, and as he receives the ball, goes right to work and hits the turnaround jumper. This just looks as if Josh Hart is pushing up the ball, though look who suddenly pops up. It's Towns, and the Rockets' defense isn't fully set, which leads to some potential mismatches. The 7-footer runs down to the right block, where due to the confusion, Dillon Brooks is now defending him. While Brooks is a very talented defender, he's half a foot shorter and is at a disadvantage. Towns gets right to work and, despite Brooks' best efforts, knocks down the jump hook without much resistance. On a Knicks team that emphasizes offensive rebounding, Towns has also had a much larger role as a scorer cleaning up the glass. His 3.3 points per game off offensive rebounds ranks second in the league, and he's doing this efficiently, ranking in the 88th percentile on a per possession basis. This possession starts with him setting a screen for Jalen Brunson in pick and roll, though by the time Cat's rolling towards the basket, Brunson is already pulling up for the mid-range jumper. While some players might hold back in Towns' situation here, he saw opportunity. He immediately runs to crash the glass, and despite Nick Claxton's attempt to grab the rebound, Towns makes the difficult tip-in. With his ability to quickly follow his own misses or get in a favorable rebounding position, this should be a way he continues impacting games throughout the season. Another underrated facet of Towns' game is his passing, where he can create for teammates in a variety of ways, though one frequent way of doing this is finding cutters out of the post. This looks like your standard post-up with Towns going against Naz Reid, though shortly after, Anthony Edwards leaves Mikal Bridges to double his former teammate. The only problem is that Towns is thinking a step ahead as he quickly finds the cutting Bridges for a layup. In this instance, Cat gets the ball and you have an inverted pick and roll where Jalen Brunson is setting a screen for him, and there's another screener in OG Anunoby. Though after Towns uses the Brunson screen and goes to utilize the other screen, Anunoby slips towards the basket. Now look at the advantage this creates. Two defenders are focused on Towns, and Anunoby has a clear path to the rim. Towns makes the right pass over both defenders, and it leads to Anunoby throwing down a dunk. Here the Kings are in a 2-3 zone defending the Knicks, though Towns sets a quick screen before going to the high post. Not every center in the NBA can say this, but Cat's blend of scoring, ball handling, and passing makes him a strong fit in the high post against this defensive scheme. Brunson passes it to Towns, and as he takes one dribble, you can see a defender work towards him. Some bigs here might panic, but Towns knows this led to an advantage as he quickly takes his eyes off the basket and fires a pass to OG Anunoby in the left corner, leading to a wide open three. So far this season, Towns has been everything the Knicks could have hoped for offensively. He's been able to space the floor, create shots off the dribble and in the post, while also creating looks for teammates. The Knicks so far this year rank second in offensive rating, and it's telling that they've been nearly 8.5 points better per 100 possessions with their all-star big man on the floor. Towns has also shown improvement defensively after a rough start, and while the Knicks have ways to go before reaching their ultimate goal, they have to be thrilled with what they've seen from their star acquisition. If you made it this far, thank you. And if you enjoyed the video, don't hesitate to like and subscribe to stay up to date on my basketball analysis throughout the 2024-25 season.